Hey friends, and welcome to today's class. For today, there are no props required, just you and your space to practice. So whenever you have your space, let's go ahead and meet in Tadasana at the back of your mat. And when coming into your space, feel free to take a moment or two to kind of just shake things out, giving yourself a moment to arrive, feeling the earth below your feet. And just taking an intentional moment to show up into your space. Maybe even closing your eyes. Taking a deep inhale, reaching those shoulders up and in toward your ears. And then on the exhale, rolling those shoulders back and down, reaching the fingertips toward the earth. Standing up nice and tall. And as you reach those fingertips down toward the earth, you feel the soles of your feet rooting down and finding a tall spine, reaching in the opposite direction through the crown of the head toward the sky. So you're feeling that nice elongation throughout the entirety of your body. And in this nice elongated space, find some nice, deep, slow, intentional breaths. Bring a nice cleansing sensation to these breaths, like you're not quite like you're revving the engine, but you're feeling that flow of inhale and exhale. Whether it be an audible sensation or more of a tactile sensation as it flows in and flows out. On your next inhale, go ahead and sweep those arms up and overhead, reach up nice and tall. And on the exhale, go ahead and cactus the arms, gently open the chest as you reach those elbows down toward the hips, lifting the chest up toward the sky. Inhale, sweep it down and up, reaching those fingertips up tall. And then exhale, cactus those arms, open the chest maybe a little bit further as the back of the hands reach back behind you to find a little bit more expansion. Inhale up and in toward the sky. On the exhale, grab hold of that left wrist, curtsy over toward the right side as you reach the fingertips over toward the right side, opening up that left side body, finding space all the way from the left side waist through the armpit. And then inhale up through center, reach tall. And on the exhale, switching sides, grab hold of that right wrist as you reach up and over toward the left side of the room, curtsying that right foot behind the left, giving you a little extra space to work from the hips to the fingertips. Inhale up towards center. Reach up, maybe even reach up and back behind you, reaching those thumbs back in space. And on the exhale, close it all off. Hands come through heart center, find a forward fold. Fingertips come down toward the earth. Inhale, find a halfway lift, reaching the chest and heart forward, drawing those shoulders down and away from the ears. Exhale, find a fold. Hang heavy, feel free to bring the feet a little bit wider than hips width distance. You can have the fingertips down onto the earth to help kind of guide your sways back and forth. If you'd like to grab hold of opposite elbows to find a little bit more of a ragdoll, the opportunity is always there to do so. Whatever kind of support you need to surrender into this space. Being intentional in your shape, even though we are trying to find a little bit of a release through the back line of the body, through the spine. You're still staying nice and rooted down through the soles of the feet. Sit bones and tailbone are gently lifting up toward the sky. And the arms, the chest, the head, the neck, everything is just easing down toward the earth. Fingertips come back down toward the earth. Find a nice little lift here. As you slowly start to bend into the right knee, the right fingertips stay down toward the earth, and the left arm traces up toward the sky as you open the chest over toward the left side of the room. Reaching those left fingertips up nice and tall. Gentle press through that right hand so you stay lifted as you find this twisted shape. Keeping that left arm up, you're going to sweep it forward toward the top of the mat. And nice and slow, start to spin the chest back down toward the floor. Left hand's going to meet the right as the right knee starts to straighten. And then switching sides, slowly bend into that left knee. Left hand stays down to the earth. Right arm traces up toward the sky, finding a nice twist. Keeping that right hip lifted up toward the sky. Reaching through those right fingertips, finding length across the arms. Nice and slow, reach those right fingertips up and overhead toward the top of the mat. Once you maximize that reach into that space, slowly spin the chest down toward the earth. Right fingertips meet the left. Find that fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Lift that chest. Exhale, fold. Inhale, ground down through the feet, nice and slow. Ripple the body up towards standing. And then you're going to finish that inhale by reaching the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands come through heart center. Inhale, the arms sweep up. And then exhale, find a forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, find your fold, hands plant. And then on the inhale, go ahead and walk the hands out toward a high plank. Pause here. And then exhale, soft bend in the knees. Hips reach up and back, downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal out the feet one at a time. Maybe bring your hands, your feet a little bit wider than you typically would. And just work your way into the lower body. Maybe kickstanding the heels left to right. Working through the side body a little bit. Just explore new space or explore your space. Nice and strong all the way from the palms of the hands. Feeling the lift of the hips, length within the back line of the body. Finding your center. And then from here, we're going to inhale, lift those heels up toward the sky. Coming up nice and tall onto those toes. And then exhale, really draw those heels down toward the mat. Inhale, heels lift up high. Nice and tall onto those toes. Exhale, heels heavy. One more time. Inhale, heels lift up high, strong, staying strong through that upper body. Hips stay lifted. And then exhale, find or chase those heels toward the earth. Find the mat. Then trying to keep those heels grounded, try to find an extra little lift to those hips, feeling a little extra lengthening through the back body, through the back line of the legs. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward, round and ripple the spine toward the top of the mat. Finding a high plank pose and pause. Exhale, lower all the way down, nice and slow, falling down into one piece. Untuck the toes, fingertips come outside the edges of the mat. Inhale, lift the chest, press through those fingertips. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. Finding a little bit more height each round. Exhale, lower. 2 more, inhale. Find whatever freedom of movement you like through this space. Exhale, fall. Inhale, lift. Find that pause, find that height within the spine. Keep the hips anchored down. Maybe a gentle engagement of the glutes to help lift through the belly. Exhale, lower down. Hands come underneath the chest. Press those hips back toward the heels. Find a child's pose. Keeping those knees just wider than the hips. So not a fully narrow child's pose, but not a completely wide one where those knees are toward the edges of the mat. Find a nice happy medium. So you still feel the support from the thighs, but you have a little bit of space to breathe through the belly. Keeping that reach of the fingertips toward the top of the mat. Feeling those shoulders kind of draw down and away from the ears, even though you have that reach of the fingertips out in front of you. Feeling that low back lengthen as those hips continue to try to find the heels. Inhale up into tabletop position. Bring the toes away from one another. And then starting in a neutral tabletop, we'll take a few rounds of cat-cows. Feel free to find whatever freedoms you like through these spaces. So on the next inhale, go ahead and lift the hips up toward the sky, belly falls. Draw the chest and heart forward as your gaze lifts. Exhale, round, press through the heels of the hands. Spread those shoulder blades nice and wide. Tuck the tailbone underneath you at the very end, doming through the back. Inhale. Arching through the spine, pull the chest and heart forward as the gaze lifts. Exhale, round. Inhale, finding cow pose. Exhale, find your cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale back through center, find your tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up toward the sky. Find a more narrow downward facing dog. Heels come down toward the earth. Still finding a nice energetic push through the heels of the hands. So you're still engaged through the upper body. Just feel how this feels different than your typical posture. Pausing here for a moment. Feeling the space you're creating, the strength you're creating. Keep checking in with that lift of the hips. And then maybe walk the hands a little bit further. Maybe coming up onto fingertips if that makes you feel a little bit more supported in this space, because you're still pressing through those hands, keeping your shape nice and lifted. Walk them back one more time. Really pressing those hips up and back in space. And then walk those hands all the way back toward the toes. Soften the knees a little bit, maybe hang heavy. Press down through the soles of the feet, bend the knees, round and ripple up toward standing position as you stand. Arms, inhale up and overhead. Exhale, hands come through heart center. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, find your fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. On the inhale, walk those hands out toward a high plank pose. Pause here. Take a moment of strength to integrate. And then exhale, bend the knees. Hips lift up high toward the sky. Downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts up high toward the sky, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. Reaching those right toes back into the space back behind you. Feel it opening within that right hip. Strong through the upper body, grounded through the left foot. Square that right hip off, reach those right toes back behind you. And then soft bend in the left knee as the right knee drives forward, bringing that right foot outside the right hand. Draw that left heel back in space, sink into that lunge. Drop the back knee, plant the left hand, inhale, open, right arm toward the sky. Feel the twist. Again, strong across, nice long line of energy across the chest. Right hand plants, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, send the hips back in space, pyramid pose. Feel free to walk the hands a little closer toward you. Right toes lifting up and in toward that right shin. Bend back into that right knee. Plant the hands. Right foot comes back to meet the left. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts up high toward the sky. Exhale, bend the knee. Reach those left toes back behind you, opening the front of that left hip. Strong through the upper body, grounded through the right foot. Feel the opening of the left hip. Really reach those toes back. Press that hip point forward. Square it off. Reach those left toes up and back behind you. And then soft bend in the right knee as you drive. Left knee toward left elbow. Plant the foot outside the hand. Draw that right heel back in space. Really feel the depth of that lunge. Take a moment to settle in. And then drop the back knee. Plant the right hand. Inhale, left arm traces up toward the sky. Find that twist. Long across the arms. Feeling those hips sink nice and heavy toward the earth. Left hand comes back down toward the earth. Meets the right. Tuck those back toes, lift the back knee, send those hips back, come into that extended pyramid pose. Left toes lift up toward that left shin. Walk the hands underneath you if you need, but keeping that spine nice and long. Come back into that left foot, plant the hands. Left foot comes back to meet the right. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more round each side. Inhale, right leg lifts up high toward the sky. Bend the knee. Open that hip. Feel expansive. Explore your space here. Let it feel good. Square the hips. Bringing that right foot forward, coming outside the right hand. Nice soft landing here. Pause in that lunge. Settle those hips down. Nestle in. And then drop the back knee. Plant the left hand. Open and twist. Strong through that bottom hand. Light and lifted through the right. Plant the right hand. Lift the back knee. Send those hips back. Extended pyramid pose. Folding forward between, just inside that right thigh, but staying long within your spine. Come back into that right foot. Plant the hands. Right foot comes back to meet the left. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Bend the knee, open up. Reaching through those left toes. Square the hips, reach those left toes up and back. And then bend in that right knee to help propel the body forward, to bring the left foot outside the hand. Sink that right heel back behind you, lengthen into this lunge, settle into this space. Drop the back knee, plant the right hand. Inhale, open up, find that twist. Reaching nice and tall, creating space for yourself. Exhale, left hand comes back down to meet the right. Lift the back knee, send the hips back. Extended pyramid pose. Come on back into that left foot, plant the hands, left leg comes back to meet the right. High plank to downward facing dog. We're going to do one more round, actually, each side, finding a little bit of progression with a few different poses. On your next inhale, right leg lifts up high toward the sky. Bend that knee, open the hip. Feel free to stay here or continue to let those right toes reach back behind you. Maybe come into a wild thing. If you want to feel a little bit more expansive here in this space, lifting those hips up toward the sky, opening through the front body, reaching through the right fingertips. And then finding your way into that lunge at the top of the mat. So feel free to make your way there as however you'd like. If you want to go back through three-legged dog, if you want to go through Vashisthasana, driving that right knee in toward the chest, to slowly and gracefully travel toward the top of the mat, feel free. Whatever journey feels right for you here in this moment. You're still giving yourself that pause in that low lunge before dropping the knee. Planting the left hand. Inhale. Reach those right fingertips up toward the sky. Feel free to pause here. If you'd like to continue into your space, reach those right fingertips back toward the back of the mat. Kicking that left heel in toward the bottom. Maybe you grab hold. Feeling that connection to help open you into your space. Not forcing you into any capacity. Slowly release your hold. Right hand comes back to meet the left. Tuck those back toes, lift the back knee, send them back in space. Extended pyramid pose. Come back forward into that right foot. Plant the hands, right foot back to meet the left. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And then inhale, left leg lifts up high back behind you. Bend that knee, open that hip up. Feel free to stay here. Or if you'd like to continue, keep reaching those left toes back behind you. Let those toes plant, open up, wild thing. Really reach those hips up and toward the sky. Using that right hand, pressing through the earth to lift up even through the chest. Reaching the left fingertips up and back behind you. Next thing we're moving into is that low lunge at the top of the mat. Feel free to move back in through downward facing dog, three-legged dog. If you'd like to find a little bit of a challenge, a little stability and strength challenge, feel free to come through Vashisthasana. Driving that left knee in toward the left armpit, spinning onto those back toes to gracefully plant that left foot toward the top of the mat. Left hand plants inside the hip. Inside that left hip, pausing in that lunge before going anywhere else, and then slowly dropping that right knee down toward the earth. Inhale that left arm up toward the sky, find your twist. Pausing here if you want a little bit more space. Continue to reach those left fingertips toward the back of the mat. You can even pause here. Or kick that right heel toward the bottom, grab hold of that right ankle, find your twist, find your connection. Continuing to allow those hips to really sink down toward the earth, but being mindful of where you are in space. Gently release your hold. Left hand comes back to meet the right. Lift the back knee, send those hips back, extended pyramid pose. Come back into that left foot, plant the hands. Left foot comes back to meet the right, high plank to downward facing dog. Reach those hips up high. Find a downward facing dog that feels good for you, that has all parts involved to support you in this space. Roll over the toes, drop the knees, untuck the toes. Bring those big toes to touch, find child's pose. Take this opportunity, this pose, to reconnect with your breath. And slowly walk the hands back toward the knees. Coming up into a kneeling position just to allow yourself to transition onto your back. Nice and slow, make your way there as gracefully as able. Feel free to shimmy the hips side to side by dropping the knees left to right. Just for a few rounds, coming back to center. Right knee in toward the chest, give it a good hug, extend the left leg nice and long. Really feel that pull in opposite poles. Grab hold of that knee with the left hand. Right arm comes into a capital T. And then find a nice gentle twist over toward the left. Trying to keep that right shoulder anchored down. Finding a nice gentle twist through the belly. Opening through the hip. Gently drawing that right thigh over and across the body. Finding ease in your space. Come back through center. Give that right knee another squeeze in toward the chest. Plant the right foot. Left knee comes in. Switching sides, left knee in toward the chest. Give it a nice solid hug as you extend the right leg out and away from you, reaching through that right heel as you draw the left knee in toward the chest. Staying nice and long within your space, long within the spine. Nice neutral spine resting against the earth. And then grab hold of that knee with that right hand. Left arm comes into a capital T. Gently guide that left knee over and across the body, keeping that left shoulder anchored down. Keeping that heart shining toward the sky, even in this twisted space. And finding ease in this space. Not being forceful. Acknowledging any discomforts, acknowledging any tension that you're hanging on to unnecessarily. Then go ahead and nice and slow, come back in through center. Left foot comes down to the earth, right foot comes up to meet it. Go ahead and give yourself a nice little hug. Knees to chest. And then coming into a happy baby. Grab hold of the outer edges of the feet. Soles of the feet up toward the sky, and then drawing those knees alongside the body, keeping a nice long spine, relatively neutral here, not forcing any particular shape. Feeling the opening within the inner thighs, maybe the back line of the hips. It feels nice into the low back. Go ahead and collect those knees back in towards your chest. Maybe give one last little bit of compression. And then nice and slow, extending one leg forward one at a time. Feel free to open and close those hips by just kind of rotating the toes in and out before officially settling into your Shavasana. Palms up and toward the sky, scoop those shoulder blades underneath the heart. Finding a nice receptive space as you allow the toes to roll open. Opening through the hips. Just being very receptive to your own energy. The individual space that you created in today's class. Feeling the opening within the hips. Maybe you feel a little bit looser, a little bit longer in the spine. Just noticing all the little gifts that you may have received moving through class today. Even when we take the time to show up onto our mat, sometimes we get a little bit distracted, away from our body, away from our breath. So before you officially pop off your mat for the day, for the morning, for the night, you take another moment as you did coming onto your mat. You take that extra moment before you get off to acknowledge your body, to acknowledge your breath, feeling that connection between yourself and the earth below you. maybe in a different capacity now than before, but still having an appreciation for that experience, that connection. Feel free to remain here for as long as you'd like, as long as you need, as long as you have. As always, I appreciate y'all for being here and practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed today's flow. If you did, feel free to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.